Hey guys, welcome to another Thursday edition of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. My name is Nick, and today I'm going to talk about something that I guess is kind of polarizing in the vinyl community, something that I didn't think really would be, and that's the new Foo Fighters album that came out for Record Store Day. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you click on the link down below and go check out the Vinyl Den Facebook group. It's almost 800 strong now, so, like I say every week, it's just a growing community to kind of continue the music conversation. There's also a couple other links down there. It's one is for the Vinyl Den merch page if you want one of these cool Vinyl Den shirts that I wear a lot. There's also sweatshirts and some other different style shirts on there. So check that out. There's also a link down there for the Vinyl Den Patreon page if you'd like to support the show. It'd be greatly appreciated. Also, make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we release new episodes. So July 17th, so was it last Saturday, was Record Store Day Drop 2 for 2017. And one of the releases that came out on that day, and I don't think it was originally on the Record Store Day list. I don't think it was really added until late. And that was the Foo Fighters. So this is Hail Satin. I believe in the preview video, I think I mistakenly called it Hail Satin, which that's the way some people are treating it at least. So this is Hail Satin. It's kind of a double album. It's on a single disc, but it's kind of a double album because the first side of it is the Foo Fighters as the DGs, covering a couple of the Bee Gees songs. And then the back side, I have to pull the album out of the back, is... So then the second side of it is the Foo Fighters doing songs off of their latest album, Medicine at Midnight, which if you checked it out, if you haven't bought it or checked it out yet, it's just a fantastic album. I think it's one of the better Foo Fighters albums of the last, several that they've released, which I'm not a huge Foo Fighters fan, but I really dig Medicine at Midnight. I thought it was a great album. But so when this was added to the list, I figured I'd check it out. I'd buy it. I knew I'd be pretty early or pretty close to the front of the line on Record Store Day, so I knew I'd be able to grab it. There was 12,000 copies of these made, and I guess I'll get to that in a minute. But so I didn't think it was going to be that hot of an album or that fast of a mover, but it seemed like it sold out pretty quickly in most places. I know I was talking to a couple of people that were later in the line, because when the record store I was at opened up on Record Store Day, it wasn't a huge line, but there's probably, 150, 200 people in line. And I want to say not even a third of the way back through the line, people were already saying that they weren't able to get it. So I was a little surprised how fast it moved. But I guess it's an interesting album because it kind of fits two different groups or two different fan bases. You got Foo Fighters fans who are going to obviously love this album or go after it just to kind of either be a completionist or because they did like Medicine at Midnight and wanted to listen to the tracks around there. Also, I think it kind of goes towards the disco crowd, the Bee Gees crowd. They wanted to see how the Foo Fighters were going to be able to tackle these covers. So I guess my thoughts on it first were that I thought the Foo Fighters did a really good job covering those Bee Gees tracks. I'm not a huge Bee Gees fan. I'm definitely not a huge disco fan. But I like a couple of their tracks. I really dig a lot of the Bee Gees' earlier stuff, from like the late 60s, early 70s, where they were a little bit more into like the psychedelic rock kind of stuff. And if all you know is like the disco version of the Bee Gees, make sure you go back and definitely check out their earlier stuff because it's definitely different than what they were doing in the late 70s. I kind of compare a lot of it to like some of the stuff the Beatles were doing in the late 60s, the Magical Mystery Tour kind of stuff, and Sgt. Pepper, not really to that extent. I don't think it's quite as good as a couple of those Beatles albums, but that's kind of the comparison I kind of have for that early Bee Gees stuff. It's some really great stuff. But anyway, I think the Foo Fighters do a really good job covering those. Is it as good as the original versions? Probably not, but I think they do a really good job of what they did. And then, of course, the live side of it, I don't know where it was recorded at. It's probably I know there's a couple of bands that did that, would do like a live show from a empty, stadium, not really a stadium, but an empty venue. But I don't know if they did this like at a studio and kind of did it as a live setup or not. But if you know, you can drop me a comment and let me know. I'm not really sure what the background of the live recordings were for that side B, but I don't know. Like I said, when I picked it up, I thought it'd be really interesting to check out, and I didn't really realize, I guess the mixed reactions to this album that it's been getting online. So the day the album was released, there was a high demand for it. So I expected it to go for quite a bit online. If you went on Discogs, there was people asking several $100s for it on Discogs. And actually, as of the time I'm recording this, there's actually 2 different listings on Discogs. There's a US version, which has never sold, and then there's a UK version, which I believe the max sell price for that was like $45. But people were asking $150 plus for it. So I think there's only one version of it, though. So I'm not really sure if those 2 listings on Discogs are going to get merged or not, because I believe, like I said, I think there was just the one pressing. Like I said, if you guys know, you can let me know if I'm wrong on any of this. But I think it was just the 12,000 copies. And the interesting thing about that 12,000 copies is, with the demand, I think this is going to be something maybe that isn't reissued, but I think we're going to see more copies of this getting released, because with as late as it was getting pressed, and knowing the kind of delays that there are in the manufacturing of albums right now, it wouldn't surprise me if not all 12,000 copies that had shipped out. And so if you're looking for this album and you don't want to pay, I would highly recommend that no one pays the asking price that you're seeing, those inflated prices on Discogs. As I enjoyed the album, is it something that I would, spend 100 plus for? Definitely not. It's available on streaming services. You can check it out. If you don't own it yet, I don't know. Paying those prices, I think, will only make the kind of the flipping issue bigger than what it is. And like I said, I think we're going to see more of these kind of trickle out, hopefully over the next couple of months. All right, so I guess onto the backlash, or I guess it really is a backlash. I shouldn't overstate that, I guess. I'm on several different vinyl-related or music-related groups on Facebook, and I've seen definitely mixed reactions. I've seen it's probably 50-50. But it seems like the hatred for the album tends to be a little more vocal than the people that really love it. And I'm kind of in the middle on it. I definitely enjoyed the album. I think it's fun. It's a kind of fun album that the Foo Fighters put together. And I saw people posting pictures of it the couple of days after Record Store Day. And I started seeing a lot of posts against the album from what it seemed like people who hadn't even heard it yet and were just kind of basing their opinion, I think, off of the hype that surrounds it and the asking price that was going for online. And I kind of get some of that, but I feel like a lot of it was maybe misplaced anger is what it kind of came across to me. And I've seen a couple of people, I even posted in the Vinyl Den Facebook group a couple of days ago, kind of even asking, I guess maybe probably almost a week now ago, or earlier in the week, asking kind of a similar question of why people were really against this album. We tend to keep conversations pretty friendly in the Vinyl Den Facebook group, so there wasn't any like serious hatred against one another that I've seen in other groups. I've seen some conversations turn into flat out arguments, which I think is kind of silly, but I don't know. It's just people get heated over music, and music is so subjective. It's really kind of hard to, no one's going to agree on everything. But anyway, the conversations, seem pretty reasonable, I think. But there were a couple of comments, and I know one said, what is the point of this album? And it kind of got me thinking, what were the Foo Fighters really trying to do with this album? And I think it's pretty straightforward. And I think it's actually kind of ingenious, because you figure, I know Dave Grohl is a big, I know he's a big Bee Gees fan. He's a big disco fan. So in October of 2019 through, I want to say it was October through November of 2019, the Foo Fighters recorded Menace at Midnight with the intention of releasing it the spring of 2020. And then, this worldwide pandemic closed everything, shut everything down for the entire year. And it really was just until spring of 2021, I think, when everything kind of started opening back up. So they had recorded this album, and they knew they were going to have to release it at some point. So they released it beginning of 2021. I think it was February, early February or mid-February when it was released. And there was a lot of fanfare. There's a really positive vibe with the album. I think it got a lot of positive reviews. But the Foo Fighters really had no way of promoting this thing. So that's why I think that's where this album comes from. Is because like I said, someone asked what was the point of this album? The point of this album was the Foo Fighters were just looking to have fun with music. And I think, and I even made a comment online about it, rock music, that's kind of been my criticism with rock music over the last decade, really, is how serious it's gotten, how pretentious it's gotten in some ways. And I think you got a band here in the Foo Fighters who, they're not a hugely, famous band, but they really are. They are a worldwide band. They do worldwide tours. They sell out all over the place. So what they did was they created this as kind of a marketing ploy. They knew that it was going to be a big seller, a big mover. Like I said, Dave Grohl is a big disco fan. So they used it as kind of a vehicle to push some of the music from Medicine at Midnight because they're unable to tour. They weren't able to do the big campaigns, the big marketing campaigns that you see with a big release from a big band. So, they release this on Record Store Day. They know it's going to be a quick mover. It's got Medicine at Midnight content on there. It's going to really reach new fans, or maybe fans or casual fans or disco fans that were looking to get this just for the Bee Gees covers on here. And maybe we'll check out the tracks on side 2 and say, hey, I like a couple of these tracks. Maybe I'll go out there and buy Medicine at Midnight. So that's why I say, this album, take it for what it is. It's a covers album, half a covers album, half a live album from their new album. And like I said, just a great way. I think it's an ingenious way to kind of get the music out there because they really haven't been able to for much of the last year. Well, that's all I got for you today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you guys think about this. Have you listened to it? Do you feel like it is just a band out there having fun with something? Or do you think they're trying to do something else with it? Like I said, I think it's just a vehicle that they're using to push the music from Medicine at Midnight in kind of a new and interesting kind of way. Because a lot of bands out there, I think if you were to poll the touring musicians, I would say a vast majority of them have actually liked being home for the last year. A lot of these guys live on the road, for years on end almost, and really not knowing what town or what country they're in a lot of the times. So I think a lot of them over the course of the past year took it as an opportunity to kind of just live their life and spend time with their families. A lot of these bigger musicians, had the money to kind of insulate themselves and insulate their families, not really have to worry about the pandemic that's going on outside. And they were able just to enjoy time with their families. And I think it's going to be interesting kind of moving forward. But I think, like I said, I think you pulled a lot of those bands, including the members of Foo Fighters, they probably enjoyed being home. So I think the Foo Fighters took that time that they had and kind of brainstormed new and interesting kind of things to do. And, you're probably not going to see any other rock bands out there doing something like this. I think it is kind of interesting. Take it, like I said, take it for what it is. If you don't own it yet, you can go online and stream it. It's available on YouTube. It's available on Spotify and Apple Music and everywhere. But, I definitely recommend checking it out at least. But like I said, drop me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Check out the Vinyl Den Facebook group. Check out the Patreon page. And come back and check out the show on Sunday with me and Ian. Well, that's all we got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.